Currently, 70% of the ethanol produced in the country is being supplied by sugarcane. India has been very successful in manufacturing ethanol, and it's become like the second largest producer in the world.
Welcome to the podcast with MITCON Consultancy and Engineering Services. I, your host Apurva Surve, and we are in a conversation with Mr. Rohit Narra, CFO and a strategist of Sadguru, Shri Sakhar Karkhana. A very good morning, sir. How are you, sir?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm absolutely fine, sir.
Yes.
Sir, we have seen your work in last few years. You have demonstrated a wonderful food production industry, also a successful business of sugar mills and its allied industry. You are also an executive member of ISMA, which is Indian Sugar Mill Association, as WISMA as well. So, in this podcast, we are looking a brief answers towards our question, a knowledge which will enhance our experience as well and your experience as well.
Yes.
So, let's start it, sir.
Sure.
Yeah. So right now I'm looking like our viewers who are very on a basic stage, don't know what ethanol is. So let's give them a brief introduction what ethanol is, how it has been produced, what are its drawbacks, what are its strategies.
First of all, I'd like to thank MITCON for inviting me here today, and it's always nice to speak about what you do. So ethanol is a biofuel. It is a replacement to the fossil fuels we have been using for all these years, and ethanol, India has been very successful in manufacturing ethanol, and it's become like one of the second largest producer in the world today. And we have been very successful at even implementing the blending program, not only manufacturing it. So ethanol is made from sugarcane, it is made from grain, and there are more ways of making ethanol. So the first one, like I said, now is for 1G ethanol, first generation. Second generation is made from biomass, agriculture waste, and other sorts of crops that will be used. And the third one will be from algae and other similar kind of raw materials. So presently, 1G is an established technology. All the countries in the world are using this. 2G, lot of work is happening, and the PSUs have done some work, especially the oil companies. And sooner or later we should be having success in 2G as well.
So what are the significance of this ethanol?
See, the significance is first, and the biggest significance is reduction of the import of fossil fuels.
Okay.
So if you ask me, in the last 10 years, India has nearly saved 200 million liters of crude imports, which is amounts to approx 1.13 lakh crore rupees. So that is the benefit on the fiscal side. And on the other side, you have environmental benefits. If you ask me, last 10 years, to give a perspective, India has saved of around 63 million tons of CO2 by producing and using ethanol. That is the environmental benefit. And third part is the increase in the GDP because you're doing local manufacturing. Fourth is the farmers. So we have paid approx 1 lakh crores in the last 10 years to the farmers as a FRP to the sugarcane, and now we even have the grain also. So it's a total benefit to the country, and it's a circular economy.
As we know, as your background, we have little bit studied about it. So you have a ethanol plant as well. So can you just tell me what are the challenges or what raw material are being used in your ethanol plants?
In our plant, we are only using sugarcane right now, and the challenges for sugarcane is the low yield, which is today our national average is 30 tons per acre, and that can be increased. So we need to work on the soil as well as the crop varieties. A lot of crop varieties have been made by a lot of breeding institutes like the Sugarcane Breeding Institute, VSI, and all these people. So currently we only have a limited cane, so the crushing season runs only from 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes in a good season you can do up to 5-6 months. So the rest of the year our plants are idle. So that is one big challenge. The second challenge is the cost of production. So with the increasing cost of the sugarcane and the harvesting and transport costs year by year, and with some inflation as well, the cost of production is rising, and accordingly the government has to give the prices.
So how these prices are impacting your business?
See, the prices are determined one by the demand supply market forces. Second, they are also depending on the raw material prices sometimes. I mean, most of the time, because as an industry, we are impacted by what raw materials we are consuming. And one more factor is how much ethanol is being blended at present, what infrastructure the oil companies or the government has. So there also there are some hiccups, like the storage facilities, transporting facilities and all that. So we are moving towards E20, we're almost touching E20 this year.
Okay.
And we look forward to more support from the government, which they already have been giving.
So, can we say that sugarcane itself is not the only product where it's sustainable? You also need grain-based ethanol on that basis?
Yeah, you can say that. Currently, 70% of the ethanol produced in the country is being supplied by sugarcane, and 30% nearly is coming from grain. So, in a way, there are two ways to look at it. One way is currently it's not, sugarcane is not supporting completely. And the other way is, even if you increase your efficiency of sugarcane farming by 30%, that is, even if you are getting 30 tons per acre as a national average, and if you work on getting around 40, then the sugarcane itself will be sufficient for the blending.
So, right, in recent few months ago, we have seen the news that government has lifted the ban from the sugar syrup, and now the sugar syrup will be also used for the ethanol, for the blending of ethanol, right? Preparing ethanol from it. So, how do you see that as a boom or a boost in the ethanol industry?
Yeah, sugarcane syrup is very good raw material, and we don't have limitations as to molasses. There is only certain amount of molasses that can be generated on the total crushing in a sugar plant. That is approx 4.5% for the C molasses and about 6.5% for the B heavy molasses. So these are two types of molasses we get. But for the syrup, we have no limit. We can crush the whole sugarcane, make syrup and make ethanol. So it's a very good move, but the government should continue this policy. They should have a consistent policy for this. And last year, they also had stopped it because of low sugar production. They wanted to control the wholesale price index and the inflation in the sugar prices in the country.
Right. So again, we need a support from government in this side also. So, sir, I have another query in my mind. Like, why are we not getting into 2G generation of ethanol, and why are we only sticking to 1G ethanol process?
So, like I said, 2G ethanol, the technology is still evolving. The current capex costs are very high.
Okay.
Nearly it's about for a 100 KL plant. 100 KL is 100,000 liters per day, right? The current capex is around 500 to 600 crores.
Okay.
Which for a 1G ethanol plant is nearly only about 100 crores. So it's 4 to 5 times more. So your break evens and your total OPEX costs, everything is high when it comes to 2G. And we are still not doing like Europe, where they have energy crops for biogas. Right.
Yeah.
So India is yet to go into that thing where we are doing only crops for energy purpose.
Okay.
Currently, we are doing whatever farming is for the food security. So once we become more efficient with the amount of land available under cultivation and irrigation, we can do better in the coming years.
So 2G ethanol, so the raw material for 2G, I would say, is the agriculture waste only. So no other thing can be used into 2G ethanol.
No, as of now, no.
Okay. Fruits and all we have seen earlier, that has been into picture. So is this...
See, anything that has sugar in it can be used for fermentation and converting it into ethanol.
Right.
But again, you have to see the cost.
Oh.
So even to make sugarcane is the cheapest. Then sugar beet, and then you have other forms of palm jaggery and all other things that are made, sweeteners. Typically, if you make sugar out of watermelon or any good fruit, the costs are like 10 times, 20 times higher. That's the same for 2G as well.
This was my last question. You have answered it right now. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's so again coming back to that, looking at the farmer's situation, for how this sugarcane is a boon for them and how it's the advantage. So it is the only thing where the farmers can grow sugarcane. So it is one of the advantage for them. Like they don't have to go to farm every day. They have to only work for the sugar mills where the product come directly to them. So that would be one of the advantage for farmers as well, right?
See, farmers have a lot of advantages. But typically, if you see a farmer's mindset was only to do hard work and work in very close connection with nature.
Yeah.
Right. So now AI is coming, all these things are coming into farming. But the farmer himself was the intelligent person behind the whole food production, right? So now sugarcane has come. Some people say it is a lazy crop, it has made people lazy. But I would say that even if you do sugarcane, because it's got a harvesting time of 14 months to 17 months. Between that, they can also do intercropping. They can use the same sugarcane fields for having crops for 2-3 months. So there are a lot of ways where farmers can take benefits in the short, medium, and long term.
Okay.
But ultimately, sugarcane has benefited farmers.
Yeah.
Like I told, we have paid 1 lakh crores in the last 10 years to farmers.
Yeah. So, as we said earlier, without government support, this is anyway not possible. So, we have seen the ethanol blending programs coming up, which is ethanol blending program itself, the name is. So, how has this been an advantage for the ethanol industry and the ethanol production?
So 10 years before, when this policy was restarted by the government, initially there were a lot of hiccups. Government has given subsidies to us, especially for the capex part. They have given a 50% or 6% waiver on the interest for the capex, and now we have very good capacities. Now our total capacity will touch 2000 crore liters.
Okay.
All in all, and this wouldn't have been possible without the government support. And we'll keep growing.
So, blending 20% of ethanol by 2025, do you think is it achievable or it's too ambitious?
No, we are almost there. In Jan, we have achieved 19.6% of blending, with 91.6 crore liters being supplied to the PSUs, the oil companies. And some states have already achieved 20%, like Maharashtra has achieved. And other states who don't produce, they're yet to reach there. So more capacities, more focus on farming, more raw materials will definitely take us beyond 20. And so we are almost there. I think this year, anytime you will get a news about the 20% achieved.
Because like what I have gone through the data while I was looking for ethanol, I have been getting it late. We are at the stage, they have released, no offense and no debate on this, but on a very subtle note, I have been going through this data and I have seen that blending has been a very tedious task, and we have achieved by now only 13%, which is very ambitious according to the media, according to the reports. At the same time, I am looking into this as what it says, approximately 545 crore liters of ethanol we have been generated, which is approximately only 13%. So how do you
So I think up to 23-24. So 24-25, if you see, we have crossed 5 for 34 years, like you said, and we have gone up to supplying, like this year the oil companies rolled out tenders for 900 crore liters, and up to Q4. So now we are already finished Q2. We are entering Q3 next this thing. So I think we should be able to do it. So the only problem is of the raw material, which needs to be dealt with. But now, since government has also given policies for grain, so a multi-feed distillery will be the future towards
for it.
consistent E20.
Let's hope like we will be able to achieve those like by 2025.
Yes.
Again, coming back to the EBP policies, we have seen that state government have been very supportive. We have seen few states have reached 20%, few states have not. So how do you see the other states doing apart from Maharashtra, Karnataka? Of course, these are the hubs for sugarcanes, UP. But how about the states where it's not, where the ethanol is not, the industries have not been developed?
See, they have distillation facilities. Majorly because of grain, they have been doing alcohol for a long time. But now grain is even being used for ethanol. So states like Punjab, Haryana, Madhya Pradesh, or even Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, all West Bengal, all these states have a lot of excess grain.
Okay.
So those states are now using the grain for ethanol. And I think there are a lot of grains like corn. Corn can be grown even if there is less rainfall or less irrigation, right? So once the awareness of these crops will increase, other states also should follow suit. And some states have already given good policies for ethanol, like Gujarat has given. And MP is also doing something in that space. But Maharashtra is thinking of giving something as a policy, as a motivation to people to get into it.
So, is it that even Maharashtra is exporting, not exporting, like giving their ethanol to the other state as we have completed the 20% of the ethanol?
So we have to do that because majorly out of all the states, only 4 or 5 states are the net producers who have surplus. So UP, Maharashtra, Karnataka. So these 3 states are always supplying to other states as well.
Okay. So, as we know, we have a shift of energy, like a renewable energy. We have seen EVs coming up. We have seen hydrogen, green hydrogen is coming up. So, how do you see the future of ethanol? Is it still there? It will take another 10-15 years to develop into EV?
See, I would say EV has been too quick, and the way the prices of lithium ion have gone down, they have gone down in the last 2 years. So that's become very easy. But typically, if you see every car that you charge, you're using like 70% of the power is coming from unconventional sources.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not renewable energy. So EV is getting a boom. Anything new, people adapt. Big cities are adapting. People are doing that. But in the long run, I would say hydrogen will also play a major role. And besides green hydrogen, you will also have flexi fuel hybrid cars.
Yeah.
So now what you're talking about E20, ultimately we will have engines which can take any amount of percentage of ethanol, even up to 100%. So that is what Brazil is doing right now. And I think in the long term, India will adapt to flexi fuel hybrids. Or maybe they will come up with solutions for hybrid in the CNG as well.
So, you said EV still has a time to take its, we have a still long breath to take about it. But as you have sugar mills, any alternative energy can be generated from it?
Yeah, sugar mills are a powerhouse of energy. So if you see, we may already make green power from the bagasse. We make ethanol, then we make compressed biogas. So from the effluent after ethanol is made, we make the biogas. And from the biogas, whatever the slurry is left, that slurry we used for the composting. Again, it is a kind of form of energy for the crops. And we also make potash from the leftover spent wash. And we can make methanol from CO2.
Yeah.
We have CO2 during fermentation. Then we can also make more sorts of energy from the biomass, like biochar is there.
Yes.
Biochar has multiple uses. Along with that, we can make syngas. Then again, hydrogen or methanol. So a lot of routes are there.
Also, you have cogen related.
So
energy.
it's about time. Time will tell which one will be more useful. But renewable energy, we are one industry who can give any sort of renewable energy. And still, we are not completely using the carbon credits, but if they get into the way that they are being used across the globe, so then we should be one of the good profitable industries.
Carbon credit is on its way to take a huge leap. Like we can see right now, it's in a process. So I think we should invest into it right now.
Yes.
Yeah. So what are the challenges and roadblocks in ethanol industry? Which are the hardest challenges?
Like I said, the climate change is a big problem, which is what we all are working for, but it is still impacting us. So one is climate change. Second is the adaptability of the technology by the auto companies. Auto companies are pretty much ready. They have 20 models of cars they have launched recently in the Auto Expo in Jan. And the facility infrastructure for the oil companies to store this ethanol, to move this ethanol, to blend this ethanol.
In recent years, we have also seen government taking a lead into multiple sectors, like for solar, for green energy, for so many things like Solar Alliance. Here again, in G20, we have seen government has also announced global biofuel alliances. So how do you see India into it? What role will India be the leader to promote this? Just elaborate your thoughts on it.
Sure. So, Global Biofuel Alliance is formed by India in the large G20 meeting that happened here. When India was leading the chair that time. So now you see, India Global Biofuel Alliance has got 23 countries as members, 12 big organizations as its members, and even if you ask countries like Brazil, their delegation was here in Jan for the Auto Expo. They say they had took a lot of time to get to this current ethanol production and usage, which we did not take so much time. So a lot of countries have a lot of faith in India, and I think India should lead the way, and it already is leading, in fact.
That seems a good news for us. Like India is leading into ethanol after Africa, right? If I'm not wrong.
After Brazil.
After Brazil, okay.
Yeah.
So after Brazil, we are the second one.
Even
who leads into
the
it.
USA, the United States also does a lot of ethanol. They make it from their corn, but they have not gone ahead with the blending policy with the speed that which we have gone.
Okay.
So yeah.
So again, even Brazil faces the same issue, like climatic conditions, like what India does,
Brazil
because-
also does face climatic problems, but if you see the total agricultural land under cultivation that they have, more or less they are always able to meet their blending targets, and they have an ecosystem in place. They don't have different geographic regions like us, so they are not too very much dependent on irrigation, and huge plot sizes and everything are there. They don't have too many farmers like we have. So Brazil has its own advantages and India has its own strengths. So we will have to just cope up our weaknesses and move ahead.
So last but not the least, I would like to ask, how would you see ethanol playing India's future and securing its energy?
Now you see, already ethanol vehicles are not a very huge percentage. They're only E20, we're blending it. But in future when flexi-fuel hybrids will come, so I think like CNG has taken up already 30% of the market, the total cars. Similarly, you will see ethanol taking up a huge share in the market, and I think that will grow even faster than EV.
That's all from my end, sir. I had a great time having a conversation with you. It was an enlightenment for me because I haven't been into this situation, like too technical kind of thing. So it was wonderful having a conversation with you. I'm looking forward to have one more session with you in future, same on the ethanol, once we have completed 2020 target by 2025. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. It's always a pleasure talking to people at MITCON and giving them whatever little insight possible from our side. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.